So we clear security, get our tickets checked, and we find ourselves inside the main event area. Once inside, one of the first things you're going to see are the Barrett-Jackson memorabilia that are for sale all throughout the whole venue. In this area is where you'll find all the other vendors, performance driving schools, manufacturers of all types of automobile-related stuff, including RVs, the GM Hummer, and the Cadillac Lyriq. And here Cliff is standing by one of the new Lyriqs. GM is also over there with their performance division. And I spent some time with one of the engineers learning about the electric drivetrain that you can buy and drop in any project that you just want to electrify. The drivetrain is the same as a Chevy Bolt. Next, we moved into the actual auction floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're buying sincerely the coolest of the cool when it comes to a porcelain with neon sign. Check that one out. Check out the graphic. Check out the colors. The restoration is magnificent. It needs your bids. We should be heading to 6 figures or more. Get your hands up, please.
The actual auto auction starts at 10 a.m. Prior to that, they were selling memorabilia.
We sold one on this very stage last year for $145,000. This one's selling right now at no reserve. We're only at 22. Get your hands up. This is a killer buy for somebody. 25, 30, 30.
From there, we went outside to where the cars were lined up to come in for the sale. And here we could preview some of the cars. Here's a few of the ones that we looked over that morning. I was particularly interested in this Jeep FC, and the FC stands for Forward Control. I drove one of these when I worked for a construction company while I was in high school. Of course, the one that I drove didn't look as good as this, and it didn't have the big Hemi engine in it either. Out there, we also found a replica of the Batmobile. That was going on the block later. Out in the lot, I found this truck that my son had been looking for online, and it had sold on Thursday, and it was still here, so I could look it over. So here's a closer look at a truck that went for $22,000. It's a 1986 Ford F-350. Started out as a pickup truck and it has some modifications done to it. They did provide a lot of information about the truck, including the build data. At this point, I thought the price was a little bit high, but then later on I got calibrated on what things were really going for at this auction. So we're back out into the preview area and looking over vehicles like this 1948 Dodge Power Wagon. In the line for the auction, I found this truck in the preview lane, and I thought it'd be interesting to follow this through the whole system. This truck is a 1979, and it has the 7.3 Godzilla engine in it, which I believe is probably a crate engine because I don't think they were available that year.
engine. Has undergone professional restoration, powered by the big 7.3 liter Godzilla crate engine. Ladies and gentlemen, finishing that beautiful Ford green metallic paint.
There were plenty of choices for lunch. This room was full of collector cars that had recently been sold at the auction. It was pretty interesting to walk around and look at the cars and then look at the sold sign to see what they went for. Here we see this Packard that's getting ready to go into the auction, and we noticed that there weren't a lot of cars like this available. The Pierce Arrow and the Packard here are pretty much unusual for what we saw. Most of what was auctioned off that day were cars that I would call custom cars, cars that had been modified and they were not original. Barrett-Jackson does a lot of video with their production here. A very popular custom vehicle here is the Chevy Blazer K5 from the late 60s, early 70s, like this example. It was a very long, action-packed day, but I want to take this opportunity to thank the Activities Committee for putting together this trip for us. It was wonderful.